new product package advisory intro. So welcome. If you have any questions during the webinar, please type them into your chat box and I will try to answer them during the webinar. But a reminder, we do have a Q&A session tomorrow at the same time, 11 a.m. AEST, that we hope everyone who is interested in these products will attend. We will be recording this video, obviously, and we will be sending to our people who are interested in the concept of advisory services for bookkeepers and accountancy firms with bookkeepers employed later on today. So welcome, and let's get started. Advisory intro has been designed for bookkeeping and advisory firms to offer services to SMEs, charities, not-for-profits, and sporting organisations, a whole group of people who really need additional services. We believe this will improve your clients' business operations or assist them in their scaling up process if that's what they want to do. And not everyone does, but a lot more people do want to do it, of course. So this is the first package in the ESS BIZTOOLS product packages. It's the last one we've developed that is now going to be the first step in the process. So it will assist you to offer advisory services to your clients. Advisory services, I believe, are very important for SMEs and the sporting groups and the not-for-profits. It will create interesting and challenging work for your team talent. And that's very important, isn't it? Because every accountant that I talk to these days is whinging that they're having trouble attracting or retaining their talent. But also for your bookkeeping or accounting firms, it will be generating diversified fee income to assist your firm to meet the challenges that are confronting all of us at present. So the ESS BIZTOOLS product packages are obviously the advisory intro, which we're going to talk about today. The next one is the starter package. This package includes everything from advisory intro, and that's how the ESS BIZTOOLS products work. It's like going up steps. Whatever's in the previous one is incorporated in the next one. But in addition, there's additional material which really brings to an end the starting concept of getting involved in advisory services. After that, we go through some significant steps in the implementation of the Chief Financial Officer services. Then we have the advanced product package. Now, this includes everything that we have produced within ESS BIZTOOLS and covers corporate governance, capital raising, Chief Financial Officer service, the full product package on research and development. And we're going to show you the introduction to research and development today because that's part of the advisory intro package. And last but not least, of course, is our big product. That's the financial forecasting package. And do you know that 2 bookkeeping firms are currently subscribing to our financial forecasting package? It includes everything that we have produced, ESS BIZTOOLS, but then it also includes the Plan Guru software package. Now, Plan Guru is an American software product that was developed by an accountant, and it's now been carried on by his son and the team that they've assembled. And I believe it's the best software product that I've seen relative to the preparation of budgets, cash flow forecasts, projected balance sheets. And that's the important information that your clients need. No matter how small they are or how big, they all need these financial forecasts. But the added benefit is that we have a very skilled trainer who is a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants, Paul Barnaby, who is the official Plan Guru trainer for Australasia, and he will train your team through that. And part of the fee is covered in your subscription to us for that. And also you can then have your team members, if they wish, go through a training process to be become a certified predictive accountant. We've registered that name, certified predictive accountant. We also include services that you could perform for boards of directors and board of advice in that package. So that's the overview of the packages which we have. So let's now move into the first page of the advisory services package, and that's to look at the SME needs analysis. This is a document. I'm going to show you some of these documents in a moment that will help you to have a conversation with your client. My background is I've done a lot of things in the accountancy, company secretary, chief financial officer, consultant area. I started off after I graduated working for a firm of chartered accountants, but after a couple of years of that, I wanted to get into the commercial world. So I joined a company and I was the area accountant for that company. We were in the meat industry. We were Australia's second largest meat company. We had operations in Victoria, Queensland and New South Wales, and exported a lot of meat around the world, but also ran retail butcher shops, wholesale businesses, supplied major businesses. In those days, Woolworths and Coles and others. We employed thousands of people. So it gave me a great introduction to what goes on in the big end of town. And let me share a secret. The big end of town run all of their businesses as if they're small businesses. Because what they do is they appoint an area manager, and with the area manager, they allocate an accountant or an experienced bookkeeper, office manager type person. And there's a small team of people. As someone that looks after the marketing and the advertising and that type of thing. There is a head office, of course, but this is in the local office. And that local area manager might have a meatworks. He might have 12, 20, 30 retail shops that he's responsible for as well. And he could have a small goods factory, hide stores, 2 or 3 cold stores, and they're all separate business units. And the challenge then is to prepare weekly results on each of those activities, because that's how the big end of town operate. They get the weekly results, which are based on actual figures and some estimates. And that's really part of the package that I believe that we have to be looking at as bookkeepers advance into advisory services, and more of that later. Within the package, you will receive access to over 300 of the articles which have been written by the team at ESS BIZTOOls. The total package is nearly 600 articles, but for the advisory intro package, there's about 300. So we're going to show you the library of articles. We produce a newsletter each month called Business Plus, which a subscription to the advisory intro package will ensure that you receive that newsletter each month. It's uploaded to our website on the second Friday of each month at 12 noon AEST. We also send a short video. And what we suggest is that you read the newsletter, then you change the name into your firm name, take off the ESS BIZTOOls badging, which is only there once. And then you send it out to your clients. But before you send it out to your clients, I suggest that you think about what the articles have referred to. And there's always 4 to 6 articles. And we try to spread them around. Some articles are for starters in business, others are for people who've been going for a while. Some of the others might be for people contemplating raising money, capital, or even thinking about their succession, their retirement issues. And then I suggest that 3 or 4 days later, you make a telephone call to that client. And you say, "Oh, Jim or Mary, did you read that article I sent you about raising capital for your business? Or you're thinking about starting a business. Did you read that article about the challenges of starting a business? Do you want to have a chat? Do you want me to come and talk to you about that? Could we have a cup of coffee or tea or a glass of wine if that's your preference?" and sit down and talk to your clients. So that's where the SME needs analysis, and I'm going to show you shortly, comes into play, because it's got some suggested matters that you might discuss with your clients. Because over the years, a lot of accountants, some of whom were my partners, have said to me, we don't really know where to start a conversation with a client. And I know that can be difficult, especially if your role up to this stage has been basically to prepare cash books and bank reconciliations, and that's about it. Or if you're an accounting firm, you might have gone, you go a bit further, but you'd be concentrating on preparing tax returns. But your client's really not interested in all that, I hate to tell you. And I've dealt with thousands of business operators over the years. They're not really interested in that. What they're more interested in is who's going to succeed them in the business. Do they need to raise capital? How are they going to expand? They may have been working on a research and development project and want to know who's a good patent attorney to go and talk to. They're looking to you to be an information source. Now, we don't pretend in ESS BizTools that you've got to be able to answer every question that they'll ask. But we are trying to give you the resources so that for hopefully over 98% of the questions that an SME might ask you, you'll have something in your toolkit that you can refer to and give them some basic information. Now, then you need to make a decision. As I've shown you, ESS BizTools comes in 4 steps. We're talking about step number 1 here today, the advisory intro package. If you decide that you've got a number of clients who are interested in research and development, for argument's sake, you may find that it is in your interest to upgrade your subscription to one of the higher levels so that you've got the full batch of material, the full product package on research and development, so that you could work right through to the actual lodgement of the annual return, which has to go to Oz Industry, which incidentally is due to be lodged on the 30th of April, because it must be lodged 10 months after the end of the financial year. So all businesses that had a 30 June year end have got under the 30th of April. So there's a lot of people very busy around Australia at present preparing the return, which summarises the research and development projects, detailed summaries of the work that was undertaken in the financial year ended 30th of June 2023. I'm also going to show you our Business Plus newsletter that I referred to earlier, so that you can have an idea of what's included in that area. And I've just finding my notes, sorry. We include within this package the tradie charge out rate, because I know that the group that we're talking to, you've got hundreds, some firms, 20, 10, most firms have got tradies as clients. Now, one of my big problems with tradies, and I played football with a lot of them, I played golf with them, is that they don't really give you the impression that they're on top of their business. And the ones that have been my clients, when they first become my clients, they definitely weren't on top of their business. So one of the things we have introduced is the tradie charge out rate calculator, which at least gives them something based on their team productivity, their overheads, what they're paying people, to determine a charge out rate. And one of the big questions is, of course, what do they do with the external purchasing they make on behalf of a customer? They go out and buy the tiles or the paint or the timber or whatever. So they put a markup on it. If so, how much? And are they then going to try to retain that markup? So let's say they're going to buy $1 million worth of products in the year for the benefit of their client. If they were going to mark them up by 10%, do they want to keep that $100,000 as a super profit in their P&L account? Or are they going to use that $100,000 to, in effect, subsidise what their charge out rate's going to be? So we'll have a quick look at that in a moment, and we'll talk to you about research and development. So I just want to move on then, if I can, and I'm going to just do some So on our screen now, you have the members homepage of ESS BIZTOOLS. I assume none of you have ever seen that, but this is what our members get access to with their passwords to be able to check on things. On this left-hand column, which starts member product menu, there's a list of the key product packages within ESS BIZTOOLS. Now in the middle, we've got the details of what each of these packages mean. We haven't got time to go through that today, but that's what will be there for a subscriber to the advisory intro package. So I'm going to go through and find the SME needs analysis. So you'll see that that's there as SME needs analysis. Within the system, we have a summary on the SME needs analysis so that you or one of your colleagues or one of your team members, the talent, that we really need those people, those younger accountants and bookkeepers, to get excited about offering advisory services. So please encourage them to have a look at these systems once you become a subscriber. So we're going to download the content, and the package that's in the advisory one is what is called I'll just fix that up. And And what we have now is the SME needs analysis questionnaire that's on the screen. Now, you could read that. Some people print this out and actually give it to the clients. You can basically memorize it. You might jot some of the key points down on a sheet of paper and just refer to them like arm notes, or you might have it there in front of you. Over the years, I've given a lot of these printouts to clients and said, I'll have another discussion with you in a week's time. It's interesting what they look like when they come back. There's writing all over them. Some of it's been crossed out, some of it's been rubbed out, but it's pleasing to see because it tells you that the client's thought about these things. So you sit down with you over your cup of coffee. How can you improve your business? You and your role. How do you feel about your job? Now, some of your clients will tell you they're fed up, they've had enough, but others say, no, I want to go for another 25 years. Are they happy about the hours they're working, the frequency of holidays? How's the team going? Could it be improved? And you might hear some whinges, but you might hear, well, look, can you train Bill a bit more about corporate governance so he understands? Because I think he might be my succession. What about their IT? Do they need improvement? Now, you mightn't be able to do much in that area. I know I couldn't, but at least then you'll go back to your office and think about who can I suggest to that client that they might look at the IT system. What's their financial goals? Are they happy with their margins? Have they had a benchmark comparison? Have you used benchmarking.com to have a look at what the figures are for their industry so they can get some comparison? What's the data tell us? Do they have an advisory board? Do they know what an advisory board does? Do you? In our material, you're going to have a briefing on an advisory board. Not the full story, but at least so you can have that conversation with your client. And if you decide that advisory boards are something that you're interested in and you'd like to have 10 of them within your clients, well, you might agree to upgrade your subscription. So you've got the full package on advisory boards. How can you minimize taxes legally? How can you grow your wealth? So they're the types of questions. And I hope you get the position that we're trying to achieve here by giving you that information to be able to use. So that's the SME needs analysis. And I'm just going to, while I'm on our website, I'm just going to now take you and show you our library. Now, we call it sections and papers. There's, as I said before, nearly 600 papers in total, in the total library, in about 70 different section headings. which we continually upgrade. We're always writing articles. We're editing them, correcting them, bringing them up to date. Obviously, things we've got taxation material, but I'm going to go to beginning in business because this is definitely a package that's included in the advisory intro package. And we might look at pitfalls in starting a business. You can see there's a whole host of articles there. There's always a preamble so that you can quickly read this and decide whether this is the sort of material you want to give to a client. So we then click on the paper. There's also a set of PowerPoint slides if you want to use them to have a conversation or perhaps run a webinar or a seminar with a client. Now, pitfalls in starting a business. It's branded with ESS BIZTOOLS. That's because we do these sort of demonstrations, but you're able to withdraw that and put your name on there if you wish. And you can sell these to your clients if you wish. I don't know if I would do that. I know a couple of people have done that over the years, but I think it's a PR gesture to give the client an article. So this is the paper. This is for someone thinking about going into business. How can they improve their chances of success? Well, they need a business plan. Everyone needs a business plan. It doesn't have to be a 50-page document, but they need a plan, preferably written. Major reasons for failure. I believe we have to be fairly blunt with businesses to make sure they realise that there are difficulties in running a business, and currently there are a lot of difficulties, aren't there? It's a very difficult time for people to be running businesses. Successful businesses are based on, what's the... So that's a very brief intro, I know, but just giving you an idea of what's in the papers. You'll have 300 of those, and you can badge these. This line here is there for, you can have your firm name will appear on the top of those when you hand them to your clients. Now, the next item I want to show you while we're just having a look at what's on the website is the Business Plus newsletter. Now, we've been writing this newsletter for 17 and a half years. So we'll download the content. We're up to edition 236. We are now producing every month of the year. For some years, we only did 11 months of the year, but we now do the full year. So we click on the number. If you want to, you can go back and look at all, once you're a subscriber, you can go back and look at all the past editions. Sometimes people say to me, "Oh, Peter, did you write an article about such and such?" Thank goodness we do have a detailed record of every article we've ever written in Business Plus, so we can find them, because people get an inquiry. Now, we're going to download the article. These mention of papers here are just papers that we believe are reference material to what's being discussed in that paper. Because a few years ago, I wrote an article on export market development grant, and one of our new subscribers in Sydney sent the Business Plus out to 800 people, he told me. And when he rang me and told me this, he said, I got a phone call about the exporting. And he said to the client, "Well, I don't do any advice on exporting." He said, "It was in your newsletter." He said, "No, you got it wrong. Must have been someone else's newsletter." An hour later, he got a similar phone call and basically replied the same way. Next morning, he got another one and thought, "Geez, I'm going to go and see what people are talking about." And he said, "Oh, that Peter Towers." So what he'd done, he just sent it out without reading it. And that's one of the reasons we now have this reference material, because we're saying to you, just don't send it out. It's going out to your clients. Please read it. And when you read it, think about who might be interested in a particular article. So while I'm talking, I'm going to bring up the March edition so you can see. So this is Business Plus. When it goes out, we're suggesting that you're removed. Our system tells you how to do that, our badging, and you put your own there. So it's going out as yours. It's got no other reference to ESS BIZTOOLS at all. And we talk about various issues. So we're trying to educate your clients so that if you've read this before it goes out and you read this and you say, oh, research and development lodgement soon. Oh, someone did tell me they were doing research and development. We better contact them because look, they've got to lodge this return with Oz Industry by the 30th of April. So you make the phone call. And this is part of the real challenge of offering advisory services. You have to be in continual dialogue with your clients on things beyond bookkeeping and beyond preparation of annual accounts and tax returns, because that's what the marketplace thinks you do. Even though they, deep down when they're really asked, they do want you to offer advisory services. They got this idea that probably my bookkeeper or accountant won't do that. So you use this opportunity to communicate with them, to say, yes, we do this. We want to do this. Our team want to do this because it's interesting and challenging work. So we then talk about the payments to associates. It's an issue within the research and development that people need to be aware of. And the tax office has been doing some checking on this lately. So I thought, okay, it's an appropriate time to make sure that everyone knows that's undertaking research and development. Capital raising is easy. Someone wrote an article in some journal recently said, oh, capital raising for SMEs is easy. Well, it might be a bit easier than what it is for someone trying to raise millions of dollars, but it's still not easy. So we use that as the intro to discuss Section 708 of the Corporations Act. Now, that's been around for 40 years. We can thank Paul Keating for that, because about 40 years ago, Keating introduced Section 708 of the Corporations Act, which for the first time allowed private companies to be able to raise capital from the public, but it was fairly restricted. They can't advertise or market it. So it's basically for friends. John Howard changed it a bit 3 or 4 years later when he was the treasurer, and it's stayed the same ever since. So under 708, your client could raise up to $2 million in 12 months from a maximum of 20 investors. A lot of people don't know that, but it's a very important section. And we then talk about the documentation that investors will require. Now, you might be saying to yourself, well, we're not going to do all this, but we want you to be aware of it. And we're going to give you briefing material within this package so that if someone says, oh, I've heard something about this Section 708, or I've heard I can raise $2 million in a private company, you will have the resource at your finger on the computer. It'll come up and you can say, yes, this is how it works. And if your client wants you to take that inquiry further, well, that's something you can then talk to them about. And if you need additional material, we've got the full resources on Section 708 that are available within our starter package. And you could upgrade your subscription if you really wanted it. So we've talked about the documents that are required: business plan, predictive accounting reports, evaluation. How did you work out the shares to be allocated? Another myth: businesses only need an annual set of accounts and tax returns. Well, I've objected to that for a long time. They don't. Businesses need regular financial reports, and public companies have proven that. The one I was with, we had nearly 400 business activities, and every one of them did it. We had a P&L done, an estimate of profit each week. We were expected to be 98% accurate on those estimates. Years later, I found out Woolworths and Coles do the same thing every week. By Monday afternoon, the general manager of a store has got the results for the week's trading, which finished on the Sunday. Your clients are competing against a lot of these businesses. I think they need that information, because what comes with it is also the business metrics and the key performance indicators that is so important for people running businesses. And I found this out when I was in the Chief Financial Officer Company Secretary position of a major meat company. The managers all wanted information. They didn't want to know how we did it. They just needed the information. And the CEO in particular. What does it mean? We have a session we run throughout most of these newsletters, just trying to demystify some of the accounting jargon. So we talked about current ratios and current market value and creditors' days outstanding. And here's an article then for someone that's thinking about going into business. So think about it. When I said to you, go through and read it and work out who should get which article. Thinking about a business person, being a business person. You can send that to them and then talk to them about it. Have a discussion. This is the way you develop advisory services. Over cups of coffee, using articles that the client thinks you wrote and send out to them. Now, it's up to you if you want to tell them that some other person wrote it and you're badged it. I know that many of our subscribers don't tell people that, so why should they? Is your capability statement up to date? Is your firm's capability statement up to date? That reminded me I should have reviewed mine again. I haven't done so for a couple of years. You should always be looking at these things. And then we have the links. This is this reference library area. Now we're saying before you send this to the client, take that out, put your own ad there, or leave it blank. But it's a great opportunity to add something. Now, if you want to add more material to this, you can do it. And a lot of our subscribers in regional country areas do, because there's always something on. They just add it. You're responsible for it, and we'll see. You can see how that might go. So that's the newsletter, which is part of the subscription. You get that, and you can take that from there. I just want to show you a couple of other things if I can. Now, I don't see we've got any questions. I hope you're saving them up for tomorrow if you've got questions. But I just want to now go to the research and development introduction. And hopefully what I'm doing by going to these forms is showing you what you've got. So what you've got on the screen now is a list of what's in the research and development introduction. In each of our product packages, we have a procedure control form, and that just sets out the step-by-step process. We also have these things called BASs. Now, we come up with that title before the tax office did. So it's business advisory services and a number. And these are various forms that we have incorporated within our system. So for argument's sake, if you wanted to have a look at, well, we'll go to advanced finding, because this is where you can get, your client can get advice in advance before they spend any money on research and development. They can, in effect, you can lodge for them a summary to the tax office and get an approval whether that will qualify as research and development. I must admit, not many people do it, but you can do it. It's called an advanced finding. Now, this goes on for pages because it's a complicated area, but it just shows you the, so if someone says to you, can we get approval in advance before we spend the money on research and development? You can say, yes, you can. And I'll give you a printout of the advanced finding. But I'm not going to keep on going through it there now, and I just don't want to revisit there. What I'm going to bring up for you to look at, though, is the flow chart. Within research and development, we have 12 flow charts. You get one of them in the the advisory intro package. So what we're doing here is giving you a document that if someone talks to you about research and development, you can bring this up on your screen or beam it up onto a whiteboard and start talking to them about how research and development operates. And you've got a full paper to support you here. And we've got references to papers. So that paper 052010 is the opening summary on research and development. Within our package, there are 12 papers on research and development. That's the first one. And there's some forms. So we go through it. So someone comes up with an idea, they take it to the boss. The boss says, okay, we'll create a small team. It might be 1 or 2 people. And you're going to go away and do some preliminary investigations. There needs to be a search whether the entity is eligible. So you'd be saying to your client, well, you've got to be a company and you have to spend more than $20,000 in the financial year on research and development. It doesn't have to be on one project. It could be on a dozen or 100. Doesn't matter, as long as they spend more than $20,000. And all that material's in the paper. It's a good idea for them to appoint a coordinator who's in charge of all this, but they have to do prior art searches. Now, they may have to go and talk to someone to help them do that, but at least you can communicate this to them. They need to do prior art. And that's really to find out whether someone somewhere else in the world has already patented their idea, what they're talking about. And if no documents found, they need to document that, because this is all this is done under self-assessment rules, and it might be 3 or 4 years' time before the tax office or Oz Industry, who's the other government department involved in this, are doing an audit. A lot of firms then appoint a research and development manager. So it goes up a level. It's starting to get serious. They're looking at this and saying, gee, this could be quite big. They need to identify the core activities. Now, all this is covered in the paper. And they have to summarise what the new knowledge they intend to produce is. They mightn't get to that, but they've got to be able to state at the beginning what all this was. And the outcome cannot be known in advance. They need to identify hypothesis or hypotheses. Have they approached any external professionals or academics or researchers to assist them? What advice did they get? What material has been identified? I hope you get the picture. This is how research and development starts. Now, there's a report published last year that indicated businesses or companies with turnovers under $20 million spent about $3.8 billion on research and development in the year just ended, 2023. That was the estimate that Oz Industry had given to Treasury of what the expenditure was going to be. It's a lot of money. And the small business not supervisor, I forgot the word, sorry. For the Australian government, Ombudsman, the small business Ombudsman put out a report which said 67% of that expenditure was by the very small end of SME market, not up at the $20 million level. So a lot of people are doing it. I think a lot of them go off to the big 4 firms because they think smaller accountancy firms aren't interested. But hang on, these are your clients. A lot of them, they're in this basic area of SMEs. Why wouldn't you be looking at it? So that's a summary of all of that. And I'm now going to just go back to my screen and we will continue from there. I think that's where I was up to. We hadn't got far. So there's some other documentations. We've got SME mentoring and coaching resources, which you'll have access to 6 of those. And there's also some seminars pre-prepared you can run for your clients that all come in the package. There's 6 of those in this package. What our system will have for you is a document which we're currently finalising, and it's a due diligence review. And the aim is to gain a 1 inch wide and a mile deep knowledge of your client's business. Because offering advisory services requires most bookkeepers and accountants to know a lot more about their clients than what you probably currently do, especially accountants. Because accountants have been used to just preparing an annual set of accounts and a tax return. They don't have to understand the information that's been put together as to where the supplies are coming from, how the supplies have to be paid for. Is there a problem of shipment of supplies because they're coming from overseas and because of the war that's underway in Ukraine and also in Israel? Is that going to disrupt the supply chain and cause problems? We've got quotation forms right through our packages to assist. We give you an introduction to predictive accounting reports, budgets for all business operations, key drivers and the important sub-accounts. That's the debtors, the creditors, the completed inventory, research and development if the business is doing it, capital expenditure, all these other things that are so important in a budgeting process, and projected balance sheets. Now, in the package we're doing, the advisory intro, you get basic guidelines as to how to do these activities, but you can, if you wish, subscribe separately to the computer package that will handle that process. We do have an arrangement with Plain Guru, and if you want to talk to us about getting access to a computer package, we will be happy to do that. Plain Guru have extended to us the courtesy that our clients can utilize the package for up to 10 clients before any extra fees have to get paid. And that's a substantial concession. Normally it's only for 3 clients on the system at any one time. We are embedding in the system the 52-week business enhancement system. The big end of town worry about things every day of the year. I think it's crazy that a lot of SMEs really only think about a lot of this financial matter at the end of the financial year. Pardon me. We're going to encourage you to ensure that financial information is getting prepared all the time. So we've got daily business reports included. We've got a weekly performance, as I mentioned before. The big end of town definitely calculate weekly results. And I think all businesses should be receiving financial accounts. Now, as bookkeepers, you will have to determine whether you're going to prepare them or the accountants that are involved with a particular client. But what I'm getting feedback from, and especially the bookkeepers who have already joined our list of members, that during the year, they're the only ones doing any of the work. So we're suggesting prepare the financial accounts, get them as accurate as possible, and then compare them back to the budget estimates, analyse the balance sheet, and that's mainly looking at things like debtors' days outstanding, what's going on with the cash flow, and then produce a monthly financial report to sit down and talk with your client. That's real advisory services. There's some other things which we're going to put introductory material in the system, alerting the CEO to funding requirements. Government grants are a huge area, and we've done a lot of work in government grants over the years. And you might be bringing to the client's attention business improvement initiatives, which will help them in their business. The tradie charge out rate calculator is in our system. We will probably demonstrate that tomorrow. I was going to try and do it today, but we really haven't got time. But the whole purpose of that is it looks at what team your client's got, what their classifications are, what the expected productivity percentage is for each of those people or categories, what the overheads are, what the markup will be on external purchases, what the required profit would be. 100,000, 200,000, 20% return on the investment in the business, whatever way the client wants to reflect that. And the system will calculate charge out rates. And then we have a proof document whereby you prove that as long as you work the hours and get the productivity and the other things also fall into place, that should be the profit. So it's a great tool to be able to use to monitor performance month by month. In fact, some of our accounting subscribers have got a lot of clients. I know one accounting firm that's got 120 tradies on this system. They're charging $8,000 a year for the full system, more than what they were charging previously just to do their annual accounts and tax returns. So they're still getting that, which was $1.5, $2 grand, and now they're getting a further $8 grand to do this charge out rate calculator and monthly financial reporting. It's become a big business operation for government grants. We have some articles prepared on the new research and development income tax rebate. Sorry, I misread that. We've already talked about research and development. That's the government grant we have the preliminary advice on, but there's also preliminary advice on other government grants as they come across. Capital raising, that's an interesting area. When I talked to the bookkeepers who had joined ESS BIZTOOls as members, a couple of them said to me, well, we never really got asked questions about capital raising, but now that you've raised it with us, I'm raising it with clients and I'm getting some interest. They didn't know we knew anything about it because we've briefed them on Section 708. But the other big two are early stage innovation companies, which is great because the investor gets something out of it. The government included a carrot. The Malcolm Turnbull government introduced that legislation, and Turnbull knew anything. He knew something about how to make money out of young companies, because it's where I gather he made his fortune from. And crowdsource funding equity raising. Company can raise up to $5 million in a year if the turnover is under $25 million. There's a couple other tests. You could help the client get started on that process, and how far you want to go with it really is up to you, as I see it. We've got a package which will take you right through on each of those items, those three items, that you as bookkeepers can help them all the way through to help them raise that capital. Now, tomorrow I'm going to be interested to get some feedback, so I hope you can come, and I hope other people can come tomorrow, as to what other services you're thinking that you could offer as advisors in that advisory capacity. And if you think we've perhaps gone a little bit too far, you might tell us, but as I'm telling you already, we do have bookkeepers already participating in these systems. And I'm not saying they're using them all, because we've got accountants that don't use them all either. They forget at times that they've got this. Buying a business, we've got a full package, product package on buying a business, and you've got access to all that, because that's very important at your level. In probably the first person that a lot of the SME clients talk to is the bookkeeper. So I think we've made the decision you're going to have the full buying a business package. The same thing goes for working capital. The key working capital item is debtors management. I've meant to have some articles here on debtors management, which were released recently, but I've put them aside. My assistant's not here today, so I can't quote the figures, but debtors management's getting out of hand again in Australia. We had the world's worst figure 5 or 6 years ago. I probably think we've still got the world's worst figure of the top 20 industrialized nations. So in our system, we have a debtors management summary that you could hand to your clients. SME debtors systems manual, which we prepared, which you could sit down and review with the client, make some adjustments if you have to perhaps change some terms. Years ago, when I was a young accountant, I went out to do an audit, and I got given the audit program, and it said, get the cash receipt book and check, from the receipts into there. So I turn up, and this was a major company, a public company, a huge company. I won't tell you the name, but it was huge. They're still going. And I asked for the cash receipt book, and they had about 25 people in the office where I was at, and they all looked at me, and I reckon I asked 25 people. In fact, I probably asked them twice, where was the cash receipt book? No, you got to have a cash receipt book. After about an hour of this, a young lady came up to me and said, are you looking for the green book? I said, the what? The green book. I said, well, what's the green book? She said, I'll show you. It sounds like what you're talking about. And it was the cash receipt book. So you need to demystify at times what's going on. People, they color-coded the whole system. When I got back to the office, I said to the manager that I was working for, we need to change the audit program. We need to tell people that this is all color-coded. He said, oh, I forgot to put that in. I said, yeah, I mucked around for over an hour trying to find the cash receipt book. So that you might find in the debtor system, you want to change some of our wording to put in a color code. That's how the client does things. So you can develop the manual. And then the client's got something, and it will help that poor person who's got debtors management on their list of work to do. We also have some cash conversion cycle formats for your forms, so you can show your client, you can work out and show them. They're buying stock, it sits there in inventory for 70 days, they then sell it and it gets invoiced to someone that pays them 90 days. It just gives them this idea of how much money they're tying up. 160 days ago, they bought that product and they had to pay within 7 days because it was a new account or something like that. So they've had this massive cash outlay. And in some cases, of course, those figures go into 200 days and all sorts of things, so that you will have the resources to be able to communicate with your clients. We are currently finalising a director's duties and responsibilities. A few years ago, I did a job for the Oz industry. I conducted director duties and responsibilities tour throughout Queensland and all the smaller and regional areas. And I used my knowledge from having undertaken the company directors diploma course from the Australian Institute of Company Directors, and we dumbed it down, I can't think of a better word, to suit the SME market who weren't interested in becoming public company directors or even advisors to that level. They just wanted to know how to run their own organisation. So we are putting that into this package. And relationship with banks is very important. And also we got some material on Australian Securities and Investment Commission. So that's a quick overview of what's contained within this package. We're very excited about this advisory intro because I think when you look back and really reflect on what the Tax Commissioner said 18 months ago now, that within 3 to 5 years, things are really going to change for a lot of professional advisors. And his real advice was go out and become a trusted advisor to your client. I think offering advisory services is enabling you to become the trusted advisor to clients. Now, they'll have more than one trusted advisor, obviously. They've got an accountant as well, might have a lawyer, might have an engineer, might have an architect, depends what their business is, of course. But gives you the opportunity to be in there playing that game. So our membership subscription, and because we're phasing in this product package over the next 3 to 4 weeks, we've discounted the package through to the 7th of May. We're saying by the 7th of May, this package will be up fully. First part of it will be uploaded next week. So the 12-month subscription, so this is an upfront payment, $900 plus GST, so $990. You get access to everything that's within the advisory intro package. Or you could make 12 monthly payments of $90 plus GST, so $99 a month. So that's the package. And you receive the Business Plus newsletter each month, and I'm going to show you about the training in a moment. If you were interested in the starter package, which is the next step up, the upfront subscription is, including GST, $1,980 or $198 per month. If you were interested in the advanced package, which is got a lot of things in it, you're looking at $5,940 upfront, including GST, or 12 monthly payments of $594. And if you were wanting the full financial forecasting package, which 2 of our subscribers are bookkeeping firms, and they're really using the budgets and cash flow forecast. The subscription is, including GST, $10,560 up front and monthly payments of $1,056. I got asked when those 2 firms joined us, both of them asked a similar question. Or were they able to subscribe to that? We've got no barriers in place for anyone. If someone wants to take the subscription, they can take it. We will offer them the the training package, of course, and they've both continued on with it. They've renewed their subscription the following year. Now, group training, ESS BIZTOOLS. We're changing how we're offering training from the 1st of May. we're going to present 1 hour training presentation for each of those product packages, 10 times per annum. Now, if you want to, you can come to another training package. The training packages are just open to all of our subscribers. So if you're interested in seeing what's the training that's it's appropriate for advanced, well, you can just register to come. So they will be promoted. We'll normally be looking at a training package a week, one a week, for the various packages. So obviously we will be telling you, if you're a subscriber to the advisory intro, this is the training packages that are available. But you will be able to see what the other ones are. And if you want to go and look at something that's in one of the other packages, whether it's starter, advanced, or financial advisory, you can just come along and watch it and see what you think. And you might decide to upgrade your subscription because you want to get hold of some other product material. That's up to you. If you wish, though, you can hire us to deliver training direct for your firm. And some people do this. They like getting their team together, and I think at the time they're probably having other training as well, and then they Zoom in. We Zoom in on Zoom, and we do a training presentation for an hour or so. We give them some notes from that, and hopefully that helps the organisation. What I've omitted to tell you, I've just thought, is that we do have training right at the beginning. There's 13 steps training, which comes with your package, which works you through this whole concept to try to get the message across to your team. But as someone said to me once, also my partners, this lady said to me, as to what all this is about. It is different for what a lot of the traditional services provided by both bookkeepers and accountants have been. But I think it is what is required now to really service our clients, the SMEs, together with not-for-profits, charities and sporting organisations are all looking for improved services. So to subscribe, you can go to our website. I should have pointed it out before, but the advisory intro logo was there at one stage when we looked at our website. You'll be able to subscribe. The first batch of the product package will be uploaded next week, and it will then be progressively fully loaded. I think by about the 5th of April is what we're trying to achieve for this particular package in the upgrading process. If you've got any questions, no one's sent me through anything on chat. I hope that means I've answered your questions, or you've written them down and you will join us tomorrow. Same time, 11 a.m. AEST. I'm not sure how long that's going to go. It really depends on how many questions we get. We are going to record it for a podcast so that we can put that out to people who might be interested in bookkeeping services. So if you wish to register for tomorrow, can you just go to our website and click on webinars and then complete the registration for tomorrow. You may have already read in our communications that we are running 3 webinars for each of our 4 product packages. And the webinar timetable is on our website if you're interested in going to the starter package, which is the next one up and the next step. Now that presentation is on Thursday, this Thursday, at 11 a.m. AEST, and you can register on our website for it. Now, if you think you need more information, please contact us. You can send me an email, peter@essbiztools.com.au, or telephone 1800 232 088, and I will get back to you. I'm quite happy to have a Zoom meeting with you and your colleagues, and we can work through some things. So hopefully this helps you, because we believe the package of advisory intro will help bookkeepers add real value to your SME clients and will really help them start this journey. Recently, the CEO of NYOB said there is far too much business failure in the first 6 months of an SME business. And he indicated this was because those SMEs did not understand the financial metrics. There is a great opportunity for bookkeepers to be supplying that type of service to SMEs, which will help stop some of this failure rate that unfortunately occurs in Australia. I look forward to talking to you further. I hope you can join us tomorrow. And if you would need any further information, please contact us. If you're interested in proceeding to become a member subscriber of ESS BIZTOOLS, I look forward to welcoming you to our group. Stay safe. Have a great day. Goodbye. Thank you very much for being with us today. Goodbye.